Keep one. James Conner, Chase Edmonds, or Christian Kirk. If you had to keep one of those guys, who are you keeping? I will start off, and I will say, just off the top, for me, this is not even really much of a hesitation. It's Christian Kirk. It's who I'm keeping. I am going to tell you, this is just my philosophy when it comes to football, especially on the professional level. If you ever ask me about keeping a running back versus a wide receiver and you're making me make a choice, almost every single time I'm going to say you keep the wide receiver. I can replace the running back. It's just automatic for me. It's just automatic. There are very few running backs who have ever played this game to me who I believe are special enough to put over an equally special or somewhere comparably special wide receiver, and certainly quarterback. I think the guys in front of the running backs are more important than the running back himself. And that's not to say that there's not some special guys out there. Derrick Henry's a freak. Christian McCaffrey, if he's in one piece, is an absolute difference maker. Nick Chubb is a difference maker. Kareem Hunt's a difference maker. There's some good running backs in the NFL. Najee Harris is looking nice. Good running backs in the NFL. But so many times I've seen Timmy Smiths, Natron Means, and Antoine Smiths, and guys like that, have huge games in the biggest situations, play big roles for teams who, so-and-so running back went down, but the offensive line stayed healthy. But somehow you look back at the statistics the next week and the team still won, and the next running back ran for 105 yards. The next running back ran for 110 yards because the offensive line and the overall scheme is still there. So for me, Christian Kirk is a dynamic playmaker who they need. The Arizona offense needs alongside DeAndre Hopkins, hopefully healthy, Rondale Moore, hopefully healthy, and, with AJ Green. So I'm taking them, and I love James Conner, and I think Chase Edmonds is a dynamic player, but I'm keeping Christian Kirk if I have to keep just one. What say you, Paul, as you shaketh your headeth?
Man, what a terrible take, Brian.
It's the most beautiful take. It's actually the most beautiful take of the day. I don't think anyone will ever be able to beat it, but you can go ahead and try.
But that's okay. It's okay. I'm used to those kind of terrible takes on this show from Brian. Anywho, here's the thing. You say, oh man, it's harder to replace some of these wide receivers or running backs. Antoine Wesley, who even is that? I say that name, and Ryan Sununu, who covers the Cardinals, probably doesn't even know who the hell that is. This Wesley guy is making plays. He's making things happen. And you just mentioned a bunch of the receivers. You're going to get Hopkins back. You got Rondale Moore. You got Wesley Snipes out there. You got future Hall of Famer AJ Green. I mean, where does Christian Kirk fit? Where is the money under the cushions to pay this man? He's going to be richly paid in the offseason by somebody. It just won't be the Arizona Cardinals. The answer to this question, boys, is simple. And I thought we were all going to be unanimous. I thought we would all agree. But obviously not everyone can bring the same level of expertise to the show that I can. And, that's why they pay me the big bucks. But with that being said, it's James Conner. And he has struck gold. It's James Conner. He was a great story, right? He overcame cancer, was at Pitt, gets to the Pittsburgh Steelers, he rises up, and the Pittsburgh Steelers throw him on the side of the road like a yesterday's garbage. And Arizona came up, dusted him off, and say, come over to the desert, James, and let's see what you can do. And he has been reborn. He's a touchdown machine. And some people may say, it's a one-year wonder. James Conner is having a crazy year, touchdowns. You can't predict those kind of things. And to those people are wrong, just like, Brian already has been on this show. They have found something here. He's a beautiful scheme fit. He's in a great place. He's in a great offense. This is fantastic. James Conner has to be retained by any measure possible. I'm putting a blank check on the table. I'm sliding it over to James Conner because he provides that chutzpah to this team. He's the secret sauce that makes everything go. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball to the backfield. He can pass block. He could run block for himself if he wanted to. That's how dynamic and versatile of a player.
Brian's falling asleep. Looks like he's falling asleep.
This is the most insane, ridiculous thing I've heard in my life. So you shouldn't be telling me that you got to keep a running back who he is a power back. So he's not a guy who is, whose effectiveness is based on his agility and speed, and he's a power back. Yeah. But he's 26 already. We already know what age 27 means for most running backs in history.
It means another great year. That's what that means.
No, it means that downhill from here. And he's already had some injury history. I'm not saying throw the guy, in the garbage heap, but we're talking about, you mean to tell me you would rather have a 26-year-old power back who than Christian Kirk? This
every day and twice on Sunday, baby. And let me also say, I forgot to mention the other guy in this group, Chase Edmonds. I mean, this guy is nothing
He's
more.
He's closer to me than James Conner.
Oh, don't even. don't start this, Brian. I have a family, for Pete's sake. Don't do this. Chase Edmonds, is nothing more than a rotational back. That's what he is. Okay.
Oh my God.
He couldn't even Kenyon Drake. They had Kenyon Drake together. And guess what? That's all Edmonds is. Edmonds is the change of pace back. Okay, nothing more.
But he's more than that. You can swing him out wide. He's coming out of the backfield. He's a matchup problem as a receiver. He is a Darren Sproles light kind of a player, and that is not a rotational back.
He's a great cheerleader. He's probably the best cheerleader the Cardinals have on the team. When he's on the sideline and going, Arizona Cardinals, let's go. Yeah. I mean, he does it better than anyone I've ever seen because he's doing that when James Conner is scoring touchdowns. Okay, let's pick the best running back on the team, and Chase Edmonds is not that. I'm sorry, man. Yesterday's news, see ya. Don't let the door hit you.
Chase Edmonds may not be one of the best running backs. He may not be the best running back on the team, but he is one of the best football players on the team.
See ya. James Conner, baby, all day, every day.
That is the level of THC that was in whatever it was you had today was obviously extremely high. So I'm just saying. What about you, Lorenzo?
Paul, you're gonna hate me for this. I'm going with Christian Kirk. You keep Christian Kirk. All right, here's the thing. Christian Kirk, Paul, you could doze off, fall asleep all you want. Christian Kirk is actually nearing 1,000 yards receiving in a loaded receiving corps. He's closing in on 1,000 yards, so they do know how to use them. And then as you fall to the side or go to the bathroom or whatever the case you do, I mean, he's averaging 12.5 yards per catch in an offense that's not even designed for the running game. It's designed for the pass. He's a perfect fit. I'll also add this about Christian Kirk. He's a ticket seller for that franchise, and here's the reason why. He's a Scottsdale, Arizona guy. NFL teams, they love the local guys. So I feel like Christian Kirk stays. The other two, sayonara.
So, Mr. Sanudo, who has
help us out
the past 45 years covering the Arizona Cardinals,
or 50 years, 50 years.
50. Who do you?
Come on, Ryan.
Okay. All right, this is the moment of truth right here. I'm going to have to agree with both Brian and Lorenzo. Christian Kirk. I mean, I thought all of us were going to say Christian Kirk, or maybe it'd be two Christian Kirk, two Edmonds. But you want to say, looking from the sidelines, I mean, Connor's missed the last 2 games with a heel injury, and I don't even think he's going to play against the Seahawks next week. They always say, hopeful, blah, 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 when it comes to injuries. But I think Kingsbury is going to say, you know what, it's the last week of the season. Let's not, disrupt Connor. And, you looked at Connor. I think I jinxed him right before he got hurt. I think I put in an article. He had the most games in his career with 14 in one season, and then boom, gets put on the sidelines. So I do agree with Paul with a couple takes that Connor, moves the chains. He actually steals touchdowns away from Edmonds, inside the red zone. But I got to say, like Christian Kirk, you're going to be taking away 100 targets if he is not going to be on the Cardinals next year. And okay, you could replace that with Rondale Moore, who, by the way, I've liked Rondale Moore, but there's certain times where Kingsbury hasn't put him downfield. It's still a work in progress with him. And Kirk, I think he's going to be around the 10, 11, 12 range per year. And I'm looking, there's a lot of guys that are going to be off the books. I think That's a guy you can easily bring back. And you know what? I think they're easily going to keep at least one of Edmonds and Connor. But let's say you don't. Let's say the Cardinals don't, which I think they will. You got Inu Benjamin, who looked really good. You know, another native of Arizona. So look, I think the running back position is easily replaceable. Edmonds is definitely a guy that I like more than Connor because he definitely is shifty. You know, he's a guy that can move around. He's in the slot at times. He can, get that extra yardage, and you saw that against the Cowboys. So look, Edmonds, I think, is a guy that's younger as well. So I totally, if I were starting to build the Cardinals franchise next year after the playoffs, Edmonds is my guy and Kirk is my guy. But if I had to keep one of them, it's definitely Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, man, I really don't even see how anybody's saying anything different. But then again,
terrible.
Yeah. And listen, Christian Kirk, he used to have the drop season his first couple years, and he's definitely, cleaned that up. I think he has a 75% catch rate, which is really good. Wait, let me just see this. Yeah, 75. So he's really, putting together a really nice season. And I think he's very overlooked in this offense too. And he leads the league and it leads the team in targets. So I don't know how you can just poo-poo Christian Kirk out of this offense. I don't think you can.
No, I really don't think you can either. I think it's insane to do. I mean, he has more drops this season than he's ever had, but he also has the most targets that he's ever had
that's
in the season. So
drops are so.
And he could stretch the field for that offense. And I mean, again, there's like one too many. Yeah, there's one too many targets, but they know how to. They find ways to use them and get involved.
Yeah, I mean, he probably drops too many passes. 6% of his passes he's dropped this season, which is the highest of his career. But there's been other wide receivers with that similar issue, and even when you still compare, even with that, no one's saying he's
Deebo Samuel has drops, and they
receiver. Nobody's saying he's necessarily an elite wide receiver. I'm saying that if you had to pick one person to keep between him, James Conner, and Chase Edmonds, I think you keep Christian Kirk. Chase Edmonds is second, and James Conner, in my opinion, is a distant third.
James Conner will be a Jet, Paul. It's all right. James Conner.
I mean, it's crazy.
Come on down. That's a great fit.
Here looking at this guy getting freaking Corey Schlesinger touchdowns, and we're adding those up like they're big deals. For anybody that's too young, Corey Schlesinger touchdowns. He's the guy who used to take touchdowns away from Barry Sanders in Detroit. Yep. Barry would get all the way down inside the 5, and they give the ball to Schlesinger and have him, ram it in. Yeah, okay, no. How about we leave Peyton Hillis away from Arizona and we move on.